Hi, this is Elizabeth, one of the co-hosts of Beauties and Headcanons. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media.
What's up, everybody? This is Christian Heimel, host of Press Row here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you're done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my show, Press Row, where we talk about the biggest issues in sports with the analysts, experts, and reporters who cover them. No nonsense, hard-hitting interviews on the sports topics you're talking about. A new show comes out every single Thursday. And don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of Press Row. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Last time on the Gregg and Dave Show.
Inside the Miracle House. I'm going to reread that because there's a colon. I read that badly. Take two. We're losing sunlight.
It's time for the Gregg and Dave Show.
We do have a studio audience here at the Gregg and Dave Show.
We do.
Put them behind a wall and ask them to be quiet.
Featuring Greg Watsnyder.
We were just talking about spam.
And David Bobkey.
I want to make sure I'm dating the right one.
Bravely bringing you the stories of the strange.
We all applaud Sweden for sticking with Trini McTrainface.
I'm thinking of changing my name to Greggy McGregface.
What, you high? Now sit back and enjoy the show.
And we don't need to say any more about how unpleasant that is.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Gregg and Dave Show on Public House Media, presented by Public House Media. As always, I am the Greg.
And I am Dave Show.
As always, you are Dave Show.
Except for about 5 minutes a couple of Wednesdays ago, but
yeah,
really weird set of circumstances going on there.
Yeah. Something about people breaking out of a nursing home and going to a metal concert or something.
Yeah. Woo!
Anyway, look for our previous shows about that. The Gregg and Dave Show is presented by Public House Media. Dave Show, Public House Media. First of all, people can find all of Public House Media's great shows. Where can they find those, Dave Show?
They can find those on a website that's on the internet, and it's called thefmedia.com or thephmedia.com. If anyone's not familiar how to spell that out, the word the is spelled T-H-E, and then you can probably figure it out from there.
Right. You can probably figure it out. Maybe not if you're one, though. Speaking of that, segue. Public House Media turned 1 year old. We had our birthday, so technically we're saying happy belated birthday, Public House Media. You know, because Dave Show and I, well, I'll speak for myself on this one, Dave Show. I won't include you in this. I'm always a little late to the party. But anyway, the point is that Public House Media turned 1. Now, I have a question, Dave Show. When you're 1, are you still in diapers?
When I was 1, I would probably still be in diapers, yes. But, right. I was in diapers for a while, so.
Okay, good to know. Thanks for sharing that personal information with us, Dave Show.
Yeah, I'll tell you, that day about 5 weeks ago when I finally got out was a great day.
Yeah, that's great.
A little less convenient now, but, you know.
Yeah, you actually have to get up and, you know, and you, wow.
Yeah, you have to actually give a crap.
Yes. Anyway, happy 1 year old to Public House Media and all the great shows. And as Dave said, check out all the great shows on dphmedia.com or wherever good podcasts just like this one, Dave Show, are found.
Absolutely. And I will say as well, happy birthday to Public House Media. It's been a pleasure being here, and it's been a lovely time. We've met some lovely people. I know. Yes. I've gotten to know Keith and Katie, of course, of Coffee with Keith and Katie a little bit, and harassed them endlessly.
Right.
And Beauties and Headcanons, gotten to know Emily a little bit, and her husband Paul, who's on Twitch, who we mentioned last week. So I'm not plugging his stuff again. That's to that. No, he's on Twitch for Deodatus. The info's on the last episode. And it's been a lovely time. And Rachel Mullen still thinks that she's driving me nuts on her show. which is only slightly true. But she does hashtag No Filter Friday, where she talks about stuff going on in Hollywood and all that jazz, and tries to make sure that her mic settings are right and all that.
We don't do that at all on this show.
We definitely didn't do that before this show.
Our mic settings are always perfect.
It's on point. Isn't that right, the Greg?
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely. So, no, Public House Media has been very good to us, just simply alone by letting us host this show. I mean, who would figure two numbskulls like us? Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, I should speak for myself again. One numbskull like me would have any business hosting a podcast, but as their motto is, we all have a voice.
Indeed. What if somebody doesn't speak? Well, they have a voice some other way, I'm sure.
Right.
They have like a board and a marker or something.
Speaking of voices, our first story
is, if anybody needed proof that we're raring to go this week, we had a segue less than 2 minutes into the show.
Right.
That's how on point we are. Mrs. Bale's got us all jazzed up this week, ready to do this thing.
Yeah. We're actually taking special exercise classes from Mrs. Bale. Only Dave Show has to interpret what the exercises are because he's the only one that can communicate with Mrs. Bale. Is that still right, Mrs. Bale?
Yep, she gave me the thumbs up.
Okay.
We were practicing one of our new techniques called pilotes, where we sleep, and I enjoyed that quite a bit. I have to admit.
Yes.
Good times. Anyway, we have here one of our favorite things to talk about on the show, and it's not necessarily one of those things yet, but it could become one. World records.
World records.
Yes.
We are a record-setting show, Dave Show.
Yes, we're breaking records all the time because we hate vinyl. But we have a story here from pulse.com.gh, which I want to say is from Ghana.
Okay.
I'm not positive.
You could be right.
This is a story about a man who inflates lorry tire tubes. Now, a lorry, I believe, is like a big semi, basically. They call it lorry over in Europe or something. But he inflates tire tubes by blowing air through one nostril. So
instead of, like, calling for a tow truck, they might call for the lorry in that region of the world.
They'd call for the thing is, I'm a little confused because it says lorry tire tubes, but then I'm looking at these and these are like, these are not real big tubes. These are not like big tires, but nonetheless, he's filling up these things with his nose, and it's rather impressive. They've got a hose set up in the picture here, so that I guess one exhale and air goes into all of the tires somehow. I don't know how the heck that works. But nonetheless, it says here, Tang Fu, and I'm probably mispronouncing his name, you should be used to that by now, who is reported to have practiced martial arts and Qigong for many years, thought it plausible to apply his breathing techniques to the lorry tire tubes inflating stunt after seeing videos of it online. And this is where the record comes in. It says a 43-year-old man from China has earned an official world record certificate from the London-based World Record Certification Agency. So it's not Guinness.
It's not Guinness, okay.
It's not Guinness, but it is a World Record Certification Agency.
Okay.
For his breathtaking stunt, in which he was able to inflate 12 lorry tire tubes simultaneously by blowing air into them through one of his nostrils. So, yeah, good for him.
I have visualizations of someone passing out doing this. But apparently, this is not the case.
Nope. It's that great breathing technique, man. You gotta take some Tai Chi and you learn how to do your breathing as you're doing the movements, and it's all fantastic.
You learn how to blow hard as we speak.
Yeah, learn how to be a blowhard.
Yeah.
It says here that the agency had heard of this man's efforts. He did something back in July. They delegated an officer to witness the performance on August 12th, and this gentleman did not disappoint. It took him 2 minutes and 30 seconds to inflate all the 12 lorry tire tubes to the surprise of people present. Tang, who is reported to have practiced martial arts and Qigong for many years, thought it plausible to apply his breathing techniques to the lorry tire tubes inflating stunt, say that 5 times fast, after seeing videos of it online. Yeah, these are they're decent-sized tubes that he's filling up here, so I would say they're...
You've got your ordinary tube skids.
Yeah. It says here he started off by inflating 10 tire tubes with a diameter of over 60 centimeters within 2 minutes and 39 seconds. And then resting for about 5 minutes, he decided to increase the tubes to 12. And he does this all through one nostril. This is what's getting me. This is not just a guy who's inflating all of these tubes with his mouth. Like, that would be, I think, difficult enough. He's using one nostril, not even his whole nose. I've never done anything with half of my nose.
You know, I've tried to breathe through half of my nose one time. As a matter of fact, I'm dealing with that a little bit today on the show. And it is hard as heck. Let me let you know that right now.
Says what makes his record more intriguing is the fact that the previous record, which was set just last year, the Gregg, by another Chinese man, it took that guy 20 minutes. 20 minutes to inflate 4 lorry tire tubes. And here this guy is. He's doing 3 times as many in just 2 minutes, 30 seconds.
Wow.
Unbelievable. Something to be said for the power of breathing.
Yes.
I guess that's...
Everybody, let's take a big, deep breath right now. Oh, wasn't that cleansing?
Oh, I feel like listening to some Enya. No, I don't. I'm kidding myself. Well, there we go. So a world record of sorts has been set there using only your nostril. So anytime, folks, I think the lesson to take away from this, the Gregg, is anytime you feel like you can't do something, remember what this guy did with one nostril.
With one nostril.
And
yes.
You're using twice as many of those, at least.
At least, yeah. Because we totally have listeners listening that have 3 or 4 nostrils.
Well, yes, we've heard from our friends over at Florkus 3, who, of course, have 3 and 5 nostrils, depending on the genders involved. And, yeah, I mean, we're going to see them soon enough. They're going to be invading within the next 5 years, and we will all be destroyed. But until then, we'll be right here at the Gregg and Dave Show giving you these lovely stories.
Right.
So, shout out to Florkus 3 listeners.
Yeah.
Still don't know how you're listening to us, but your technology is superior to ours. So, shall we move on to our next story, the Gregg?
Yes, we shall.
Very good. Now, the Gregg, of course, you and I, both single lads.
Yes, we are.
Respectable chaps, dare I say. And, well, I don't know about you, but I've tried out a dating site or 2 in my time.
Yeah, you know, I've tried out. I think the farthest I've gotten was like the, you know, there are people waiting to meet you in the email box, and then I read over their descriptions, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe not.
I once was reading a profile of a lovely young lass who confessed in her profile that until she was in high school, she did not know that camels were real.
Really?
Yeah. I thought that was an interesting fact, but...
Did you end up going on a date with her?
Oh, gosh, no. No, crazy person. No.
Because you, of course, are of superior intellect.
Yeah, well, I know camels are a tool of the government. It's a whole thing. Anyway.
Right.
We'll get into that another time. But, yes, camels are evil, and Florkus 3, they know that. Anyway. Digressing. We have a story here about a different sort of dating service. And interestingly enough, this crosses over between a dating service and a vending machine. And I am disappointed to say it is not a dating service for vending machines. I had a good long thought about that last night, actually, as I was looking over this story.
Did you?
How great would that be? You'd have a dating service for vending machines. They get together, things work out. You know, this one presses B2, that one presses C3, and bippity boppity boo, you got one of those quarter machines coming out that's got the little gumballs or sticky hands or little plastic football helmets or whatever that you see at the Sentry.
Right.
Yeah. That'd be adorable.
Or, how about this?
Hmm?
You get Twizzler flavored soda.
Twizzler flavored soda.
Isn't that what a vending machine dating service could do?
I don't know. Ooh, maybe it could. I hadn't even thought about that. You know what? They may need to get some Twizzlers out in California to use as straws in the near future.
That's a good point, and one which we won't talk about anymore on this show because it's not weird news. Anyway.
Not yet. Now, if somebody actually wants to suck up a liquid through a Twizzler using one nostril, let us know.
Yes.
We'll be happy to talk about it.
You know, this makes me think. I still haven't done the Mentos and Diet Coke thing.
Ooh.
I need to do that sometime.
Make sure I'm out of the area when you do that.
I'll make sure you're the cameraman.
Oh, crap.
It'll go on the Gregg and Dave Show Facebook page.
Yes. Hey, if we get to like 1,000 subscribers or something, we'll totally do that.
Yes.
Get on it, people.
By the way, that's Greg with 3 Gs and Dave Show.
Yes. Facebook.com/Gregg Dave Show. There you go.
Yes.
All right. There was a story somewhere. I forgot where it was. Here we are. We have a crossover between a dating service and a vending machine. And this comes to us from coconuts.co.
Oh, okay.
A fine website, of course, which I visit multiple times daily.
I get all my news from that website.
Yeah, well, it's a fine website. What could people possibly not like about coconuts?
Right.
Yes, fresh and juicy news from Asia. Because we like to be informed.
Yes.
The story here reads, Hong Kong's real-life Tinder. Get a blind date from a vending machine for $20. That is $20 Hong Kong currency.
Can I just say that all my dates are blind dates?
We are going to break the rim shot button one of these days, but that day is not here. Anyway, the story reads, Angie had just twisted off the lid of the rounded capsule containing the name and personal details of her date when her friends snatched it away and began excitedly reading aloud. Alvis, 26-year-old, 168 centimeter tall, loves traveling and reading. Contact me via WeChat account. One of the group gushed as they stood outside BT Reptile, a small pet store in Kowloon's Shek Keep My neighborhood. He is perfect for you, one of them said, presumably. Says, Angie, a 21-year-old university student, is one of the more than 1,000 customers so far for the Fate Capsule, a vending machine with a romantic twist. Rather than dispensing fluffy toys, figurines, or candy, the pink plastic tower for $20 Hong Kong, that's about $2.50 US, so it's not terribly expensive, spits out the information of single men and women looking for love.
Can we just pause this story right here real quick? And I'm just fixed on that name, Fate Capsule. It sounds like a roller coaster in which I'm going to plummet towards my death. This service may want to be renamed to something, a little bit more pleasant.
Well, you say plunging toward your death. That sounds like most dates I've been on. But there you go. Maybe that's just me. Yeah, Fate Capsule. It is a bit of I feel like that's a bit of an extreme name.
Right.
But, yeah, there we are. Fate Capsule. That's what they went with.
Okay.
Yeah, that's hardcore, man. That's almost as hardcore as the metal singing granny we talked about a couple weeks ago. But
right.
Anyway,
right.
We need, as a side note, we need to make like a Hall of Fame or something to put her in.
Yes.
I feel like we're going to keep bringing her up. It was awesome.
Yeah.
But anyway, digressing. The concept was brought to Hong Kong by the owner of BT Reptile, Ben Tang. That's probably where the BT comes in, I'm guessing. who, after seeing it gain popularity in Taiwan, decided to set up a machine outside his store 3 months ago, just in time for Valentine's Day. We should note this story is from a couple months back.
What do reptiles have to do with this?
Well, the dating service is outside of the reptile store in case you feel like getting a date and you don't mind dating a reptile. Maybe that's the sort of thing they go with, is like, we'll give you the fate capsule, and then you can either go on a date with the person from the fate capsule, or you can go with whoever's in cage number 1.
Yes, like a great episode of Let's Make a Reptile Deal.
There you go. That sounds fantastic.
Just hope the person you're going on the date on isn't a snake oil salesman.
Ooh, yeah. Good call. Good call. Anyway, we'll put that project... Mrs. Bale, can you put that in development? As soon as Public House Media has a TV network, we're going to make that happen. Taking Komodo dragons to get spaghetti and meatballs. That'll be a good time.
Yes.
Anyway, the story. Sorry, my mind is going on about how a thing eats spaghetti. Anyway. Says since then, Tang, 25, says he's sold about 1,000 capsules, primarily to customers in their 20s, and has had nearly 2,000 people sign up online to have their details put into the machine, which has different compartments for men and women.
Well, that's good to know.
Indeed. Meanwhile, similar so-called capsule toy dating vending machines have begun appearing in other stores around Hong Kong. If you meet your boyfriend on dating apps and tell your parents, most likely they will doubt if he's reliable. But imagine you meet him via a capsule toy. They will probably be like, "How cute is that?" Tang says. I don't know what planet you're from, Tang. It's not Florkus 3, that's for sure.
Now, so just bear with me here, as I'm trying to understand this. This sounds like opening an Easter egg or a fortune cookie, where the surprise is really inside. So you put your information in, the money in the vending machine, cha-ching, cha-ching. And that was my vending machine sound, by the way. And then it goes through, and then I'm picturing an Easter egg coming out or something coming out, and then you open it, and here's your date.
I just had a thought as you were saying that, actually. What if it was one of those little shrinky-dink things where you get the capsule and it's just got a little tiny person that's maybe, a half-inch tall. And then you take him to the bathtub, you pour water on him, and then a few hours later it's expanded out into a full-sized human being.
I've got a better name for this app. It's Insta-date. Just add water.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Mrs. Bale. Make that a thing. Yeah, she's on
that. The new title of the show.
She is on that white on rice.
Insta-date. Or insta-relationship. Just add water.
Oh my gosh. I can think of a few dates I wanted to throw water on. Well, anyway. That could be taken a couple different ways. Says here, popularity, however, has come at a price. Since local news outlets started covering his vending machine, Tang says he's been inundated, the Gregg, with interest and has had to set a limit to the maximum amount of capsules sold each day. I'm going to say that again because I whacked my microphone. Has had to set a limit to the maximum amount of capsules sold each day. I can easily sell more than 1,000 capsules every single day if I want to, he said, but I'd rather not. I like to see people come by casually when they are free. It feels more destined. Yeah, sure. I think of dropping a bunch of quarters in a machine when I'm thinking about my future wife. That's natural. That's biblical.
Do you think this guy's single? Or do you think what's the word I'm looking for? I'm struggling with words today, Dave Show.
Wording is hard.
He profits from his own invention. In other words, does he need a date? Is that why he's doing it?
I'm glad you asked the Gregg. It says here, Tang says he spends as long as 5 hours some evenings sourcing and vetting his participants together with his girlfriend.
Oh, okay.
It does not say if he found her through the vending machine or not. There we go. So, it says here people who want their details in a capsule, because I know we have listeners interested. They need your name, age, height, weight, hobby, self-introduction, contact, all in a Google document, the link for which Tang has shared on his Facebook page. He also adds them one by one on WeChat to verify they are real, and as he puts it, to make sure, quote, they don't act too weirdly. That's me out. So, yeah.
Yes. Okay.
So there we go. A little more to the story. We'll post a link to that on the Facebook page. And, that's an interesting one. I gotta say that's probably one of my favorite stories that we've had in recent weeks.
Yes. Dave, are you going to move and try this?
Yeah, I don't see myself moving over there anytime soon to try this out, but nonetheless, I will admit, if I was in Hong Kong and I saw one of these, I would be tempted to spend the $250 just to see what happened.
I think I'm going to stick with It's Just Lunch. Anyway, we can't use that on here because they could be a sponsor. But, Dave Show, I do know this. We have a date with a commercial break.
Yeah. And, that segue was delicious.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Gregg and Dave Show.
Well, there's another nice mess you've gotten me into.
Hey, it's Baxter Colburn here from Public House Media. Did you know that we just added a store here at Public House Media? No, I'm not talking about a grocery store where you can go buy apples or bananas or peanut butter, which are all fantastic, especially when peanut butter's on all of those. Anyway, we've added a store here at Public House Media so you can not only come and represent your favorite podcast network, but also represent your favorite shows as well, too. Just go over to thepHmedia.com and look in the top right corner where you'll see the button that says Store. Click on that and you can search through all of our great products. Or if you go to our Facebook page, Public House Media, you can see on the left-hand side a tab that says Store. All of our products are listed there as well, too. It's the new Public House Media Store. You don't want to miss it. It is fantastic. Buy some of that great swag to support your favorite shows and to support Public House Media. Check it out today.
And now, the dramatic conclusion of the Gregg and Dave Show.
It's just like working in a fish market, except you don't have to clean and gut fish all day.
Welcome back to the Gregg and Dave Show, presented by Public House Media. By the way, you can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, YouTube. You can find us a lot of places. And you can always look us up on Facebook at Gregg Dave Show. That's Gregg with 3 G's, 2 at the end, 1 at the beginning, and then Dave Show. Yeah, there's got to be a less complicated way to explain that.
Possibly.
But I can't think of anything right now. So, we're going to talk about potholes.
We're going to talk about potholes, yes. And again, shout out to our friends over on Florkus 3, who I believe listen to our show through Zeke's Discount Podcast Emporium. And I'm not entirely sure why that's the one app that works for them, but you know what? That's between Florkus 3 and Zeke, as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
That said, yes, as you said, the Gregg, as you alluded to, our next story comes from metro.co.uk, and there's a problem they're talking about in this story, which is pretty universal, I would say.
Right. I would agree with that.
Yes. Potholes. Potholes affect everybody. Everybody's got them.
Right.
I dare say the Gregg, and I'm pretty sure this is scientifically accurate. I'm pretty sure there are more potholes on the planet than there are stars in the sky. Or grains of sand.
Hot take.
Hot take. Hashtag fuzzy math. But nonetheless, the Gregg, we've heard the story, I think, a month or two ago about potholes getting filled by, I think it was Domino's Pizza, wasn't it?
Yes.
Like they've been going around filling potholes for people in neighborhoods, and it's a great bit of marketing.
Right. Right.
Absolutely brilliant. We have a little story here about a pothole in a Toronto neighborhood that people decided not just to fill, but to make it somewhat useful.
Useful. I like useful potholes.
Yes, don't we all? Mrs. Bale, do you have the bleep machine ready? I feel like I'm going to let it slip here. We're saying pothole a lot. I feel like I'm going to slip and say the wrong word. Okay. From the Metro, people so fed up with huge pothole, they grow tomatoes in it.
Better than growing something else, I guess.
I guess. Do you like a good tomato, Greg?
I do like a good tomato.
Okay. Well, I'll let you have the tomatoes then.
I like tomatoes. I much prefer them juiced. So with tomato juice. You know what a good snack is? Tomatoes with mozzarella cheese and just a little bit of I think my mom does vinegar on them. Turns out to be a really, really good snack.
Interesting. I must admit I am not a big fan of tomatoes.
You say tomato. I say you're wrong. It's tomato.
Then, of course, there's the great line from The Muppet Show where one person asks, is it pronounced tomato or tomato? And the other guy says, is what pronounced tomato or tomato? Fine question. Anyway, the story reads, people living near the ever-expanding sinkhole. Now, see, they call it a sinkhole here. It's not just a pothole. It's a sinkhole. I feel like that's totally different.
There's a difference there.
There is a difference.
Yes.
Okay. So,
people get swallowed up in sinkholes. I haven't heard of too many people getting swallowed up in potholes.
Oh, you haven't been in my neighborhood long enough. But I digress.
Wow. A lot of things happen in River West that...
Amen to that. There's a lot of potholes that live in my neighborhood, I'll tell you what. But anyway.
Yeah.
I said potholes, right? Okay, good. Okay. People living near the ever-expanding sinkhole by Avenue Road in the Rathnelly area said they had been requesting the city to fill it for months. But without any progress, frustrated residents launched a very healthy protest by turning the hole into a tomato garden. Very interesting and creative way of handling things. They say one resident told As It Happens, it's sort of like a community garden. With just enough room for one car to pass it at a time, the several feet deep hole had become a real plague for people passing through. Taylor Peterson told Global News, it's hard because you have to walk all the way around and then you're walking into traffic. A woman living in the area said the sinkhole has been here for many months. And they've got some video and pictures here of the tomato garden. And this is a sizable hole. This is definitely a sinkhole, Greg. I will confirm that. Mm-hmm. This is if you drive into the middle of this hole, your car will be stuck. You're going to be tipping into it. So this is it's a big deal. Says there's a tweet here from Mad Hattress TO. Says the tomato plant in a pothole is not a feel-good story. Our infrastructure is crumbling around us to the point where we have potholes as big or bigger than the ones I've seen in Jamaica. That's bonkers in a city as rich as Toronto. There you are. Yeah, this is again, looking at more pictures of the pothole here, it doesn't look like it's terribly deep. But, I don't know. I would still say sinkhole, because that's big enough.
Right. But it's people who have the time and entrepreneur spirit that, want to start a community garden. And how can you not love a community garden, Dave Show?
Oh, how could I not love it? I guess I can't. I'm a crotchety old man, and I can't hate a community garden.
Right.
Even I cannot be hating.
Right.
On your tomatin. Is that a thing? We'll make that a thing.
Yes. Don't hate on the tomate.
Yes. Oh my gosh, so many quotable things from this episode.
Or the Insta-date. Ha!
Don't hate on the Insta-date.
Don't hate on the Tomate or Insta-date. Oh my gosh.
What are we talking about?
I have no idea.
I'm lost. Mrs. Bale, who's pumping the goofy gas in here? All right, well, wrapping up the story. Another resident said the near-ripe tomatoes have been there for long, for crying out loud with these things. Another resident said the near-ripe tomatoes have been there for long. They, quote, got to the point where the steel wiring is necessary, which is pretty fun. Not sure how that's fun, and I'm pretty sure there's a word missing in that sentence. We were doing so well.
Yeah.
Now I'm tomating on this story, and I'm throwing tomatoes at my computer.
Yes.
The pothole protest clearly worked, as the city's mayor has now promised. So you know it's going to happen now.
Right.
It's promised not only to fill the hole, but also move the tomatoes to a community garden. I thought the pothole was a community garden, but whatever. Toronto's mayor, John Tory, told City News, "We have successfully began the process." That's the wrong usage of begin. You want begin, not began. Why am I correcting you? Began the process of transferring the tomatoes to a community garden so they will survive. And the pothole will be fixed. And isn't it just like a politician to call it a pothole and not a sinkhole, even though that's what they were reporting it as? And it clearly is.
Yes, and all politicians use appropriate grammar, too. Yep, they all do.
That pained me. Right at the end there. That story pained me.
Anyway, what was worse, though, reading that story or getting tomatoes thrown at you?
Probably getting tomatoes thrown at me. I would say that.
Don't give Mrs. Bale any ideas.
No. I've had enough dates that ended that way. Well, we don't need to go into that. But
now, are you and Mrs. Bale? What's your relationship status with Mrs. Bale, Dave Show? I mean, I know she's our producer, but we need to make sure there's no fraternizing on the job.
Sure. Well, I believe the current relationship status is the restraining orders. 20 feet, Mrs. Bale? Is that it? 20 feet. So I have to maintain 20 feet of distance from Mrs. Bale at all times.
Dude, that must be difficult sometimes.
Actually, very handy thing. I must give it to Mrs. Bale. She put tape on the floor.
Oh.
So she's got some tape over where she is by her little desk of buttons and whatnot. And there's a little line there. And then she marked out 20 feet and has a line here, which I'm technically in front of. So I'm just going to take a step back here. And we're good.
Okay. Well, there you go.
The more you know.
You have been listening to the Gregg and Dave Show.
Heaven help you.
On Public House Media. Yes. Someone help somebody out.
Yep.
Anyway, thanks for listening. Everybody, don't throw tomatoes. Or don't throw old people.
Yeah, definitely don't throw old people.
Yeah.
No.
Don't do that. Dead birds, though, those you can throw.
Well, I guess. Especially if it was, their last request.
Right.
Speaking of old birds, Mrs. Bale. Are you sure this is 20 feet? It feels like more than that. I'm not even at my mic yet.
You've been listening to The Gregg and Dave Show. The Gregg and Dave Show theme is Take a Chance by Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech.com.
Oh, is that the point? You're going to keep moving. That's why this seems further back. You keep moving the tape further back every week, thinking I wouldn't notice. Sneaky.